Long ago in the Yoruba kingdom, the winds carried whisper of power, beauty, and love. At the heart of it stood Shango, the king and god of thunder, whose name echoed with fire. But behind his legend stood two women who shaped his destiny, Oya the tempest and Osun the river. Long ago in the mighty city of Oyo, where the king sat on thrones of thunders and drums of battle never ceased, there lived two women whose name echoed across the land, Osun the goddess of river, and Oya the goddess of whirlwind. Both were wives to Shango, the god of thunder and fire, a warrior king whose very presence shook the heavens. He was handsome, broad-shouldered, his laughter deep as drum, his anger fierce as lightning. Every woman desired him, but only few could match his intensity. Among them was Osun, gentle yet cunning, with beauty that dazzled like the sunlight on the flowing waters. She was adored by many, a healer and a lover, sweet as honey, but with a heart that knew how to skim when survival called. And then there was Oya, fiery, untamed, a whirlwind in human form. She was not the woman of gentle smiles, but of storms and battles. She fought beside Shango in war, and when she danced, the ground cracked beneath her feet. For a time, peace existed in the Palace of Thunder, but where two powerful men share one throne, rivalry is inevitable. The rivalry began quietly, a whisper here, a look there. Servants carried tales from Osun chambers to Oya, and from Oya back to Osun. Each sought Shango's heart fully, but his love was divided like rain falling on two rivers. Osun, ever graceful, would prepare sweet elixirs and love potion for her husband. Her laughter, soft and golden, was a balm after his battle, yet in her heart she resented Oya's power. The way Shango would call upon Oya to ride with him in war, trusting her not just as a lover, but as a warrior. And Oya, proud, passionate. Oya despised Osun's subtle games. Sweet river, she would say with venom, your honey may suit his lips, but it is I he calls when thunder rises. You are his calm, but I am his storm. One evening, as the drum beats for a festival, Shango sat in the great courtyard, his wives by his side. He wore red and the color of fire. His axe rested against his throne. The people chanted his praise, yet his eyes betrayed a secret hunger. For though he loved both women, he feared their rivalry would one day consume not just his palace, but his kingdom. And indeed, betrayal was brewing. Osun, with her soft words, began whispering into Shango's ear that Oya's heart was too wild, too dangerous, too envious. She envies me, my king, she said, her eyes shimmering with crocodile's tears. She would not rest until she destroys me. Meanwhile, Oya's spies brought her word of Osun's potions and secret charms she has stirred at midnight by the riverside. She seeks to bind him, to weaken him. Oya hates, but I would not let her steal what is mine. That night, under the cover of the moonlight, Oya comforted Osun by the river bank. The air was tensed, heavy with spirit. Sweet Osun, Oya's part. Her voice rolling like thunder. You smile with honey, but your heart drips with poison. Do you think I'm blind to your tricks? Osun, calm as the flowing waters, only smiled, and you, whirlwind, forever raging, forever jealous. You think strength alone keeps a man's heart. No, it is the sweetness of the river that quenches his thirst. Remember that the two men locked eyes, river and storm, honey and fire. From that night on, the palace of Shango would never know peace again, because what began as rivalry was about to erupt into betrayal. The rival between Oya and Osun became the shadow behind Shango's throne. To the people, the palace was still glittering with wealth and power, but inside its world, whispers grew sharper than daggers. Osun moved like water, calm, sweet, and unassuming. Yet beneath her gentle exterior, she plotted. She knew Shango's weakness, his hunger for loyalty, his needs for absolute devotion, so she played her part with perfection, pressing her ear against his worries, soothing him with song, preparing potions to heal his exhaustion. But every sweet word she whispers into his ear came with venomous seed. Oya does not love as you think, she murmured one evening, her voice trembling like a reed in the wind. She loves your power, your crown. She waits for the day she can wield it herself. Shango frowned, brow darkened as storm cloud. He trusted Oya's strength in war, yet Osun's soft words stirred doubt. Meanwhile, Oya the tempest, born with suspicion. She could not match Osun's soft deception, but she wielded a weapon of her own, fearless truth. To Shango, she spoke bluntly, without sugar on her tongue. My husband, she said one night, as they prepared for battle, beware of the river's sweetness, for honey that is too sweet can poison the blood. Osun hides behind her beauty, but she weaves spell even you cannot see. Shango slammed his axe into the earth, frustrated. You are both my wife. Must every day be a battle between storm and river? But Oya was not wrong. Osun was weaving spell potions, steering with moonlight, charms whispered into river spirit. She sought to bind Shango's heart fully, to make him forget Oya's fire. The breaking point came during the festival of thunder, when all Oyo gathered to honor Shango's power. The drums shook the sky, fire blazed in the courtyard, and the warriors danced in red. Both Osun and Oya prepared gifts for their husband. Osun presented him with a crown of gold, laced with cowries and river pearls, as though the very water blessed it. The crowd gasped at his beauty, but Oya stepped forward with something far different, a spear of iron, forged in lightning. She trusted it before him and declared, "This is no ornament, this is power. With it, you would conquer every enemy." Shango took both gifts, his heart torn. The people shared, but rivalry grew unbearable. That night, when the drum fell silent, betrayal bloomed. For Osun sent a trusted servant to spread rumor through the palace that Oya had given the spear not as a gift but as a challenge. That Oya sought to overthrow Shango, to stand as queen in his place. The whisper reached the king's ear by dawn. His heart thundered with confusion. Could Oya, his warrior, his tempest, truly convert his throne? And Oya, hearing this whisper, erupted with fury. She stormed into Osun's chamber, her eyes blazing red with rage. "You snake," she hissed, "you twisted words as rivers, twisted paths. You dare turn my husband's heart against me." Osun, seated by a mirror, calm, adjusted her bead. "Perhaps, Oya," the whisper, "merely reveal what lies in your heart. Tell me, do you not dream of power? Do you not crave his throne?" Oya lunged forward, but the servants held her back. The palace shook with their cries. Shango himself had to rise, his axe blazing with fire to separate his wife, but the damage was done. The shot had taken root. Osun had planted. That fury watered it. That night, as lightning split the skies over Oyo, Shango stood alone in his balcony, crown heavy on his head. He looked up upon the river where ocean water glistened in the moonlight. Then he turned to the plains where Oya wind tore through the trees. River and storm, sweetness and fire, two women, one throne of love. And in his silence, Shango knew this rivalry would not end in whisper. It will end in betrayal, sharp enough to split the heavens. The kingdom of Oyo awoke to tension as sharp as a blade. The market still bustled, the drum still sounded, but in the palace, thunder rolled silently between walls of gold. Every glance, every word between Oya and Osun was a battle, hidden beneath silk and beads. Oya the tempest could not stay silent. Her heart, forged in storm, demanded the truth. She went to Shango, her voice fierce but trembling beneath his strength. "My king," she said, falling on one knee before him, "I have never sought your throne. I have only fought to protect it. But there is a poison in this palace. It drips from the river." Shango's eyes darkened as brewing storm. He searched her. He wanted to believe her. He wanted to trust the woman who had stood beside him on battlefield, who had called lightning down from the sky at his command. But Osun whispered echoed louder in his mind. "Enough, Oya," he said, his tone heavy. "I will hear no more of this war between you. Do not force me to choose." But silence was not Osun's way either. That same night, she prepared a feast, bathing herself in oil, adorning herself with jewels, her beauty glowing like dawn on the river. When Shango entered, she sang to him, her voice sweet as rippling water. "My husband," she whispered. "Oya seeks to divide us. She burns too hot, too wild. Can such a storm truly love you? Or does she love only the fire you command?" Her words slid into Shango's heart like a dagger wrapped in silk, and as he lay with Osun that night, Oya's absence taunted him. The next day, Oya struck. She stormed into the council chamber, in front of chiefs and warriors, her voice fierce enough to silence the room. "If Osun wishes to paint me as a traitor, then let her stand before us. Let her face me here, where truth cannot hide." Gasps filled the chamber. To challenge another wife in open court was dangerous. It was war, cloaked as honor. Osun entered slowly, a picture of serenity, a gold bead gleaming under the torchlight. She did not raise her voice. She did not need to. She just said, "Oya," softly, "you mistake passion for loyalty. You think your storms protect him, but storms destroy as much as they should. Tell me, sister, how many enemies has your rage slain? How many friends?" Oya trembled with fury, but the words struck deep. Chiefs murmured, their eyes shifting uneasily. Was Oya a protector or a danger to the very throne she swore to defend? Shango rose, his axe gleaming. "Enough," he roared. "You disgrace my name with this quarrel. If you cannot live as one under my roof, then one of you must leave." The chamber froze. "Impossible has been spoken." Oya's heart shattered. She had given him storms, her blood, her soul, and now he spoke of casting her aside for the whispers of a river storm. That night, as the moon hid behind the cloud, Oya stood alone on the plains outside the city, wind howling with her grief. "I gave him everything," she whispered, her voice breaking. "My strength, my love, my loyalty, and still he chose a lie. The wind rose into a scream, tearing branches from the tree, hurling dust into the sky. Lightning split the heavens, but Oya's tears burned hotter than the storm. And in that fury, she swore an oath: if love has become betrayal, then let betrayal become my weapon. If my storm is too fierce to be his, then let it rage against him. Far away in her chambers, Osun smiled before her mirror. She dipped her finger into a bowl of river water, whispering into the spirit. The storm breaks, she murmured, and when it does, the river would remain calm, eternal, unbroken. But the gods were watching, and they knew neither storm nor river would remain untouched, for betrayal once sown demands an harvest. A storm broke at last. One night, the sky above Oyo crackled open with lightning, thunder shaking the palace wall. Oya rode the wind, her eyes blazing, her body cloaked with fury of tempest. She was no longer wild, she was no longer a queen. She was vengeance itself, awakened with a cry that split the heavens. She summoned a storm against Shango's enemies and allies alike. The kingdom trembled beneath her rage. Villagers cowered, warriors stumbled as the glaze tore their spears from their hand. Even Shango himself, master of thunder, staggered beneath the force of her betrayal. In the palace, Osun watched with quiet satisfaction. She stood by a bowl of river water, her reflection calm and radiant. She destroyed herself. She whispered, the storm cannot outlast the river. But Oya's fury was not mindless. It was precise, cutting like a blade. She struck where she knew Shango pride was weakest. His allies, chief who had once sworn loyalty to him, bent under a storm, turning whispers into rebellion. She left no mark of her hand, only the evidence of chaos. To the people, it seemed that Shango's power was failing, that the king of thunder could no longer command the sky. At councils, warrior muttered, the gods turned against him. They said, perhaps Shango is not as mighty as we thought. Osun leaned close, her voice as a serpent is dripping into Shango's ear. It is Oya, she seeks to unmake you, cast her out or lose her. Shango's face darkened like the storm itself, yet in anger he hesitated, for he still loved her. The storm that had once fought by his side, his heart was torn between two queens. The storm who had matched his fury and the river who had suited his fire. But Oya had no patience for hesitation. She entered the palace once more, lightning at her heel, her voice rolling like thunder. Shango, she said. She cried, standing before him and Osun, I gave you loyalty. You casted me aside. I gave you love. You believed that lie. Now taste the storm you've rejected. Shango rose, his double-edged axe glowing with fire. The air itself quaked. Oh yeah, he thundered. Your storm rages against me, but remember, I am thunder itself. I do not fall. The clash shook the heaven, lightning against fire, storm against thunder. The earth itself groaned as the battle, not as lovers, not as husband and wife, but as force of nature, too great to be bound by mortal vows. Osun, watching, smiled with serenity of the river. She whispered into her water, and they spread through the land, calming the villagers, healing the wound left by storm and fire. To people, it was not Shango or Oya who saved them. It was Osun, the river's mercy. And so the tale was sealed. Oya, the wounded and betrayed, flew into the winds, becoming spirit of storm, feared and revered. Whenever the hurricane rose, whenever wind howled with grief, her name was whispered. Shango, exhausted, returned to his thunder. His legend scared the storm rebellion. To this day, some say his flame burned too bright, consuming him at the end. And Osun, she flowed on, calm and eternal, a river, a sanctuary for those in need. Her name became one of worship, her beauty untouched, her legacy golden. Yet the griot keeper of truth reminds us that it was not Osun alone who shaped the tale. Without Oya's fury, without her betrayal, the river calm would mean little. For only in the storm destruction can the river mercy be truly known. So when thunder rolls and the wind rise, listen closely. In the storm, you may hear Oya's voice, grieving, defiant, eternal. And when the rain follows, soft and healing, it is Osun's hand that suits. Two sisters, two queens, one love, one betrayal, and a rivalry written not in the words, but in the sky, the waters, and the very soul of people. And so the tale ends, but the storm and the river remains. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to African Griot for more inspiring African stories that has been buried deep in history.